The sun was bright that afternoon, the kind of sunlight that made everything look clear, but still, somehow, distant. Cars moved steadily along the wide city road. People crossed streets, vendors called out, life was loud, and yet, inside a sleek black car, it was completely silent. Daniel Hayes sat in the back seat, dressed perfectly. Sharp suit, expensive watch, a man who had everything under control. At least, that's what people believed. But today, Daniel wasn't thinking about meetings, or profits, or the next deal. He was simply looking out the window, watching people, watching movement, watching life, as if he was searching for something he couldn't name. "Sir, we'll reach the office in 10 minutes, the driver said. Daniel didn't respond immediately. His eyes were still outside. Then suddenly, something caught his attention. A small figure near the side of the road, barefoot, standing still. Daniel leaned slightly forward. "Slow down!" The driver eased the car. As they moved closer, the image became clearer. A boy, maybe 8 years old, thin, wearing a faded shirt, too big for his frame. His hair was messy, touched by dust, but his posture was steady. He wasn't running, wasn't chasing cars, wasn't begging. He was just standing there, watching people pass, as if he had already accepted that no one would stop. Daniel's gaze stayed locked on him. "Stop here." The driver hesitated for a second, then pulled over. Daniel stepped out of the car. The warmth of the sun hit his face. He walked toward the boy, each step calm, measured. The boy noticed him now. Their eyes met. There was no fear in the boy's eyes, no desperation, just quiet stillness. "What's your name?" Daniel asked. The boy hesitated, then answered softly, "Armin." Daniel nodded slowly. "Where are your parents?" Armin looked down at the ground. A few seconds passed. Then he shook his head. "No one." The words were simple, but they carried weight. Daniel looked around. People walked past them. Cars drove by. No one stopped, no one cared, except him. "How long have you been here?" Daniel asked. Armin shrugged. "I don't know." There was no complaint in his voice, no sadness, just honesty. Daniel studied him carefully. This wasn't just a child who was lost. This was a child who had learned not to expect anything. Daniel took a slow breath. "Have you eaten today?" Armin shook his head. Daniel turned toward the car, then looked back at the boy. "Come with me." Armin didn't move, not immediately. His eyes narrowed slightly, not in fear, but in caution. "I won't hurt you," Daniel said. A pause. Then Armin took a step forward, then another. And just like that, a decision was made. The car door opened. Armin sat inside carefully, not touching anything, not leaning back, just sitting still, watching. The city passed by outside, tall buildings, shops, people, everything moving fast. But inside the car, it was quiet again. Daniel glanced at him. "Do you go to school?" Armin shook his head. "No." Daniel nodded. He didn't ask more. Some answers don't need questions. After a while, the car slowed down. A large house appeared ahead, clean, modern, surrounded by trees. Armin looked at it carefully. "This is your house?" he asked. "Yes." Armin didn't say anything, but his eyes stayed on the house, as if trying to understand. A world so different from his. They walked inside. The air felt cooler, calm, organized. A woman stepped into the hallway. Daniel's wife, Sarah. She stopped when she saw Armin. Surprise crossed her face. Then confusion, then something softer. "Daniel?" she asked quietly. He nodded. "We need to talk." Armin stayed near the door, still holding himself small, still unsure. Sarah looked at him again, then stepped closer. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Armin." She nodded. "Are you hungry?" Armin looked at Daniel, then back at her. Yes, that was enough. A few minutes later, Armin sat at the dining table, a plate of warm food in front of him. He didn't rush, didn't grab. He ate slowly, carefully, like someone who had learned food doesn't always come back. Sarah watched him, quietly. Daniel stood nearby. Neither spoke, but both understood. This wasn't normal. Later that evening, they sat together. "What are you planning?" Sarah asked. Daniel leaned back slightly. "I don't know yet." "That's not like you." Daniel smiled faintly. "No, it's not." He paused. then said, "I saw myself today." Sarah looked at him, confused. Daniel continued, "Years ago, before everything." Silence filled the room. Then Sarah spoke softly. "And now?" Daniel looked toward the hallway, where Armin sat quietly. "Now I can't ignore it." Sarah took a deep breath. This wasn't a small decision. This was life-changing. "For him or for us?" she asked. Daniel looked at her. "For both." The next morning, sunlight filled the house, warm and bright. Armin stood near the window, looking outside. He wasn't on the road anymore. He wasn't waiting. He wasn't invisible. Daniel walked beside him. "Do you want to stay here for a while?" he asked. Armin looked up, surprised.
Can I?
"Yes." A small pause. Then Daniel added, "But only if you want to." Armin nodded slowly. "I want to." Days passed, then weeks. Armin slowly began to change. Not his personality, not his quiet nature, but his comfort. He spoke a little more, smiled sometimes, laughed rarely, but genuinely. Sarah noticed it too. The distance she once had began to fade. One afternoon, she found Armin helping in the kitchen. Not asked, just helping. She watched him for a moment, then said, "You don't have to do that." Armin looked up. "I want to." That was the moment. Everything changed for her. This wasn't just a boy needing help. This was a boy trying to belong. Months later, the house felt different. Warmer, louder, alive. One evening, Daniel returned home, tired. But as he stepped inside, Armin ran toward him. Not loudly, not wildly, but with certainty. "You're back." Daniel stopped. For a moment, he just looked at him, then smiled. "Yes, I am." He placed his hand gently on Armin's head, and in that moment, he realized something. He didn't just bring the boy into his home. The boy had brought something back into his life, something money could never buy, something he had lost long ago: connection. And sometimes, the most important decisions in life happen on ordinary roads, on ordinary days, when you choose to stop and see someone everyone else ignored.